Just want to say congrats to the winners. First game of the entire season will go down as Orioles hosting the Angels. And of course, this is interesting because everyone's mind's on Baltimore with the bridge collapse, which came 3 days after their owner died. If you missed that, their owner died on the 83rd day of the year, March 23rd in a leap year. And the Orioles haven't won the World Series since '83. And then a lot of people have drawn on the parallels to the Salvador Dali painting about a collapsed bridge in light of the Dali taking out the bridge in Baltimore. And that collapse came 83 days after the Salvador Dali death anniversary of January 23rd. And of course, in Gematria, collapse equals 83. So does football, so does Ravens. The Ravens season ended on January 28th, 128. The bridge came down at 1:28 a.m. As we know in Gematria, bridge collapse equals 128. The bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed 128 days before Francis Scott Key's birthday anniversary, August 1st. There's a lot to say about this. Joe Lieberman collapsed and fell and died yesterday. His name equals 128. Could go on and on, but sadly, you learn this knowledge. You see how the news and the sports are scripted. And you know who I'm always saying runs the show, you guys? The 201 gang, right? I've been working on the book explaining this for the better part of the last decade now. And again, that 201, you see how it says in the notes? It says another 201 and 177 for the record. So today was 177 days after the manager of the Orioles' birthday, and the Orioles got their 201st home win over the Angels. And remember, these numbers go together. Remember Event 201, the simulation of the pandemic before it went down, put on by Klaus Schwab, the Jesuit, very prominent Jesuit. Klaus Schwab in Gematria equals 177. He put on Event 201. You might recall the knighting of Captain Tom. It was a big deal in the UK. He was knighted by the Queen July 17th, 17/7, and then died 201 days later from the pandemic. And he was known for the Burma campaign, which George Orwell wrote his book about. And Burma's government collapsed to its military one day before Captain Tom's death. There's so much more to it. But again, that was 201 days after being knighted on 17/7. And in history, Catherine the Great preserved the Jesuit order with 201 Jesuit priests. And her husband died on July 17th, 17/7, making her the ruler. You might recall Hulu put out the brand new exclusive show about Catherine the Great right as the pandemic was getting underway. We were talking about that back then. But we've been talking about this 201 and 177 thing for a long time. And there's a lot of other examples. But again, by learning this knowledge, you can see how these things work out. And if I didn't make it clear already, and I don't think I did, the most important point about 201 and 177 is, again, the point I'm about to make about the knowledge. The knowledge is gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. Write out the Jesuit order, and you'll see that it equates to 177 when you run the alphabetic order. A is 1 to Z is 26, and it equates to 201 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, meaning Z is the first letter back to A is 26. You write it out like an alphabetic order, forwards and backwards, and then add up the words like a long arithmetic problem. 201, 177, big numbers the Jesuits have been educating about for a long time. I got a book out there that's been out there for years now about this. Same lessons over and over, you guys. And again, I've been teaching you all this time how they sync up the sports with the games. From the Ravens' last game on 128 to the collapse at 1:28 a.m. at the bridge, that was 58 days later. And remember, Gematria, alphabetic order forwards and backwards with numerology. Baltimore equals 41, Baltimore equals 58. The Ravens fell to 5-8 versus the Chiefs in the AFC Championship like 58, and Mahomes got his 41st career road win. The owner just died on the 83rd day of the year, 41 years after 1983, the last year the Orioles won. Again, the collapse 83 days after Salvador Dali's birthday. There's a 41 piece too, but it's slipping my mind. I forgot. So anyway, join us on Patreon. Again, you guys, the Patreon is no joke. We've been doing this for a long time. The lessons we teach, so repetitive. We'll see if we can replicate what we did last year and find a 50-1 World Series winner by the conclusion of day one. Again, that was the Rangers last year. And for all you guys who doubted, go back and look what we said. I was putting it out for free after we called it on Patreon sometime in, explaining how, again, the Rangers beat the Phillies last year 267 days after Bush's birthday, who used to run the Rangers. And 267 is the Philadelphia area code. And the Rangers had a very symbolic score, beating the Phillies, the defending NL champs, to start last season. They won 11-7, like Major League Baseball equals 117. And remember that 119th World Series that the Rangers went on to win with 50-1 odds after Game 1? They won the 119th World Series on the 119th day of George W. Bush's age. And he threw out the first pitch in the World Series. Again, you guys, politics, feds, government, sports, perfect ritual, a perfectly set chessboard. We're going to talk about this way more because I got a lot more information on the Baltimore bridge collapse if you're following that. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is it's not an accident. The Orioles were the first team on the slate for the year with the death of the owner. By the way, you guys, the owner died 263 days after his birthday, the 56th prime number. His name in Gematria equals 56. Nancy Pelosi equals 56. Her birthday is 26/3, the 26th of March, like 263, the 56 prime. And again, the bridge just collapsed on her birthday. So same pattern with the owner's death, 263, the 56 prime, and Nancy Pelosi and her name and that birthday. RFK Jr. that day announced his VP. And remember what I pointed out if you missed it. RFK Jr., the person he chose, her birthday is September 16th. Go back to the headlines last year from September 16th, 2023. RFK Jr. had an assassination scare in Los Angeles where his father was killed. This year will be the 56th anniversary, and he was shot on the 5th day of the 6th month. But from that assassination scare with some decoy guy sneaking into his bodyguard, we pointed out that September 16th date was 263 days before June 5th, 2024, the 56th anniversary of the assassination in the same city. So now he picks a VP that has the same birthday, September 16th, that scare happened. And then she's also from the Tacoma Narrows Bridge collapse area when the governor of Maryland is from Tacoma Park. There's a big old ritual the other year, too, with Nancy Pelosi and a death of a Baltimore politician the day of a Ravens-Seahawks game. I had to go back and find that. That's an older post. Time flies. It could have been 4 years ago already right now. But, yeah, if you guys missed my long decode on, there's so much to say about this bridge thing. I just want people to know that it's not an accident. The Orioles won this first game 11-3. We'll talk more about that score later, too. That's a symbolic number right there, the builders, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, that highest degree of 33. How Joe Biden had to go live 33 minutes after the hour to talk about it. Remember, the Scottish Rite, their rites were written by Jesuit priests. You see it all right there, the 113 for the Scottish, the 201, 177 for the Jesuits, D.C., the Jesuit Masonic city. I mean, year after year, same old lessons. If you think all this stuff's coincidence, again, you're only shortchanging yourself. So we'll leave it there, and we'll be doing a lot longer stream later. Thank you again to everyone who hits the like and the share, and thank you to everyone who supports the work. Again, we're decoding sports before the games on Patreon. The link for the Patreon is always in the description. And thank you to everyone who supports it.